Democrats and Republicans on the Hill are not the only ones facing off over the budget battle. Now, last week, right here on Hannity, two of our great American panelists went head-to-head in a heated debate over the debt ceiling debacle. Now, here's a quick recap, just in case you missed it.
The problem here is all of them. The president, the Democrats, let me finish this point, and the Republicans are interested in one thing. They're interested in advancing their politics. They're not interested in the country. And I want to tell you something.
That's silly. That's not true.
Excuse me. Let me finish.
Let me finish. No, I won't. There are Republicans who stand for this all this time.
The answer is they are like Milton's thing. They please. I am slapping them both. You know, Hugh, why don't you stop doing this crap? All of you. The fact of the matter is both parties are screwed up, and I want you to. Their attitude.
That is not true.
Will you stop interrupting me, Hugh?
No, I won't, because
you don't have a right to keep doing that, for God's sake.
All right. What was that push thing by Cadell? All right, joining me now for round two of their fiery fiscal showdown, former pollster for President Jimmy Carter and advisor to George McGovern's presidential campaign. What credentials? Fox News contributor Pat Cadell and nationally syndicated radio talk show host. He's on the Salem Radio Network, a partner at the law firm Hewitt Walensky, the one and only Hugh Hewitt. By the way, what was the push with the hand thing going on there, Cadell?
Well, it was just because I can't function very well when I'm up. No, we worked this out. Hugh and I actually planned this out, so we
You did not plan it.
No, I'm kidding.
Hugh,
we were pretty.
I don't know. I was beginning to think here I may have to, rip my mic off and come over and save you guys, Hugh.
Oh, I would give a great big hug to Pat if I was there. But the fact remains that there's a big difference between us. He went to Washington to work for Jimmy Carter. I went to Washington to work for Ronald Reagan. And I think facts are stubborn things, and it's not both parties' fault.
Well, let me tell you something. You couldn't be more wrong about that. And let me tell you who agrees with me. I spoke this weekend at the Centennial Institute's Western Conservative Summit. Juan Williams, Dick Morris were there, 1,500 Christian conservatives. And I ripped up both parties, and they gave me a huge standing ovation. So you have a problem with them as you do with the polls. The problem is both of these leaderships are bad.
Now, Pat, when you were out talking to Colorados, I was in Ohio with the Cuyahoga County Republican Party, and they do not agree with you.
I was with real grassroots, and you were with the Republicans.
Here is the fact that you need to understand. In 2006, when the Republicans controlled the Congress last and had the president, the deficit was $269 billion. 5 years into the Obama-Pelosi-Reid administration, we have a deficit of $1.65 trillion. When Democrats have any part of the government, they go crazy. They don't spend like drunken sailors. They spend like a drunken Navy.
Well,
that is not a Republican Party problem.
Hey, you know what? The difference with you and I think the Democrats are drunken sailors spending. I think the Republicans are doing that. Look what happened and let me just say a couple of things, points I made there. Your Republican leadership are the people who abandoned Obamacare just as soon as they passed that bone they threw out on repealing it. They have not pursued that issue that they promised their base they would do. They are the ones on Fannie and Freddie. You know there are no investigations with Fannie and Freddie. Why? Because both sides were bought up on this. And caught up in this corruption. You can go on issue after issue, but look at this.
Let me jump in here for a second. Let me bring your focus back here, because I think this is really important. I think what's happening here, if you look at the polls, the president's poll numbers have never been lower. Every metric that we have for the president on the economy, and Hugh, I'll throw this to you, is negative. Independents now, he's down to 34%. The independents are the ones who elected him. So there's a mass rejection of Obama. And to lose 15 points, as Dick Morris was saying, throughout this debate and this process, I don't care any way you slice it. $4 trillion of Obama debt in less than 3 years is enough to, and this tailspin with the economy, they will blame, rightly so, him. This is his economy, and they were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sean, you're exactly right. I prefer facts to focus group fantasies. And the fact is that this president's tenure has been the worst of any modern president. It is a disaster. And the fact that the Democrats get a free ride, Joe Biden actually said to his Democratic colleagues today that the Tea Parties are like terrorists. Now, can you imagine if Dick Cheney were to refer to Democrats as terrorists, what would happen in the media? This party, the Democratic Party, is out of control. It is not a bipartisan problem. It is a Democratic Party spending problem and a partisanship problem that Pat, because of reasons perhaps going back to his longtime friendship with a lot of Democrats, will not embrace. His problem is candor.
But no, let me tell you something. When we speak about candor, and look, I am as critical. The difference between you and I, Hugh, is I'm as critical of the Democrats as I am of the Republicans. And you're not. I'm not going to get up and do talking points for one side when they do what they have done, whether it's on passing as they did last spring. That budget resolution, the reason this deal is worthless is because last spring when we had the budget resolution, remember, 35, 50 billion, somewhere billion dollars we were going to get for, cuts. We ended up with what, 300 million.
But can I
the
disagree
answer
with
is
you
they gave Obama. But the Republicans are so stupid. They gave Obama what he needed most. He would have sold anything to have to not have this issue again, and they gave it to him.
But Obama got the budgets he wanted. The president got the stimulus he wanted. The president got Obamacare, which he wanted. The president increased discretionary spending 84%. And then Republicans got elected after. The Republicans just basically started. This is Obama's debt and deficit. You don't deny that.
Well, everybody did this over 20 years.
But nobody
no one's done it like Obama.
Right.
But look, the Republicans surrendered in December after they won the election to keep taxes. Why they don't simply say, hey, let's tax GE?
Right.
I mean, Imlet.
By the way, Hugh, you're making him sweat. I can see it. He's.
No, it's because I'm not.
We don't want the details.
Oh no, you don't. But
all right, we got.
The fact is, country wants them both gone.
Probably better you both were not in the same room today. Thank you both for being here. All right, we got a great American panel. Beckel and I and the Great American Panel coming up next. Don't miss it.